day, televiewers. You're welcome to this edition of your program of choice, The Lamb, over WAKA Africa TV. The Lamb, we talk about current issues, facts, and we discuss different ideas, bringing them all into a global thought which can enact a better action for a better society. On this edition of the program, I am hosting a guest, and of course, I'm humbled to have this gentleman in the studio. Maybe me start on my right, where we are having a journalist, a consultant in political marketing. He's no other person than Ndinwa. It's a pleasure having you on set, sir.
The pleasure is shared. I'm glad I was honored by your invitation. And first of all, I want to salute the initiative. You understand the narrative is changing, and the internet has come to tell the story differently. It's a laudable initiative you people have taken at the level of WAKA Africa. Congratulations.
Thank you so very much. On my left, we have another person, and John Mankefor. He is a social critic and a commentator. It's a pleasure having you on set, sir.
Well, it's my pleasure. I'm pleased to be here and to discover what you have here.
Thank you so very much, televiewers. Our topic for discussion this day on The Lamb over WAKA Africa TV is what legitimacy has the 2018 president of Cameroon. I'll start with you, Benedict. We are talking about presidential candidates in Cameroon, and you know for sure that we just had elections. Let me first of all have your appraisal of what transpired.
First of all, I want to say it was a very complex situation with two regions of our country, of our beloved fatherland, that's the Northwest and the Southwest, had to vote in very terrible conditions. But I would want to salute the courage of those who braved these odds to go to the polls, to express themselves, to live up to their civic responsibility, and to choose for the next 7 years he who would rule Cameroon.
Yeah, thank you. I asked you the same question, Mankefor. What's your take, general view of what transpired as elections in Cameroon?
Well, in civilized communities, in civilized countries, elections having election is a period when the rulers come back to consult the rule as to whether they should continue to direct affairs.
Yeah.
So this is a very important thing. An election is an important thing in the life of the country. So when an election has taken place like the one has taken here, it definitely has raised a lot of concerns as to whether that legitimacy or that consultation has been effectively done. It's not just a matter of talking about the consultation, it's a matter of finding out whether that consultation has been done, because you need to say, okay, I've been directing your affairs, should I continue to direct those affairs? So you have to ask the question, is that consultation genuine? Is it okay? Otherwise, there will be question marks.
Thank you. Are you putting the consultation to question? Were the people of the Northwest, or were Cameroonians not consulted by the political parties in question?
I am not putting the consultation to question. It is a consultation that is putting itself to question. Because the issue is, if you are ruling 10 million people, you come back to ask the 10 million people, should I continue to rule you? If there are conditions, you have to make the conditions possible to get the maximum number of people among the 10 million to be able to say that, okay, I've consulted the people. So you look at the conditions themselves will determine whether the consultation is okay. It is not, I'm not the one saying that the consultation is not okay. It is the conditions on the ground that will see whether the issues are okay or not.
As it stands, you are giving credit to one of the 9 political parties, that's the CPDM, who braved it to have done their campaigns. In other words, you enjoy calling a consultation in the regions where some 8 other political contestants did not.
This is not, in my opinion, this is not a matter of braving. You have to consult people who are free. The atmosphere has to be free. So if it's a matter of braving it, it means that only maybe people have some degree of bravery, as I say. Society is not just about bravery. It's about saying that I'm coming to consult you, you have to be free. If you are not free, you should be able to create conditions for that freedom to be there, that atmosphere to be there for you to carry out the consultation. So if you are talking about braving it, it means that somebody who is handicapped, somebody who is old will not be able to do it. So consultation is not just for people who are brave.
Let me turn to you, Ndinwa. Were the people consulted before elections?
Yes, they were consulted. We had pre-campaigns, we had campaigns, we had the 9 candidates or their representatives tour the nooks and crannies of this country, meeting the people, talking with them, explaining to them their political programs for the next 7 years, what they plan to do, how they plan to address the issues plaguing us as a country, as a people. I'm confident, and I believe it was, though we had difficulties, but in fine, the people were consulted.
Do you share this idea or this food of thought with the other 8 contestants, or just with one?
I share the you call it food for thought. We are in a country made up of 10 regions. The other candidates campaigned mostly in 8 of the 10 regions. One of the 8 tried to brave it to the southwest, and the candidate of the ruling party, through his representatives, through his regional campaign managers, made it to the northwest and the southwest, coordinated the campaigns, in as much as they couldn't access the villages, the subdivisions, as they would have loved. But they did their best to ensure they met the people, they consulted the people, they talked with the people, and I'm sure when the results would be declared, the Cameroonian people would see the expression of their wish in those results.
In as much as they did not access the royal areas, like you put it, why did they not access the royal areas?
It's no longer news that the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon are plagued by an ongoing crisis. We are blocked in a stalemate for close to 2 years now, what some have baptized the Anglophone crisis, which has made it very difficult for people to move freely, irrespective of your political beliefs, irrespective of your religious beliefs. Movement, security, safety has been very difficult. It has been a very complex situation. The people of the northwest, or residents of the northwest and southwest regions, have been living for close to 2 years now.
John Mankefor, you are a social critic. When you hear that people face difficulties to access local areas for campaigns, was it worth going for an election with such an environment?
Well, it just fits with the whole structure of, it fits with the whole structure because it is an elitist, we have an elitist government. So if you have people who say that the election took place because they are seeing the country from an elitist perspective, those who are in the metropolis, because you have people who sit maybe in Yaoundé and they take the decision and they assume that all the whole country is with them. So if somebody he has breakfast on his table in Yaoundé for Douala, for instance, he thinks that the person in the rural area already has breakfast too on his table. So if we are talking about elections, an election is a situation where you have a candidate taking a commitment with the people. It's not just a matter of representatives. So if I'm a candidate, I have to get to the people. You might have representatives of people who are trying to assist you, but they cannot be ahead of you all the time. So you have to come and take the commitment, because when you are in office, the people will be asking you for the commitment. This is the commitment you gave us. So that is where the question is. It's not a matter of you going somewhere and maybe you get yourself embedded in your air-conditioned office somewhere and then you send people out to go and talk to the people. I mean, that is arrogance. That to me is political arrogance. So you have to be humble. If during the elections a politician is not humble, it means that after elections he can never be humble. Because it is an opportunity, an election is an opportunity for the politician who is generally very escapist to calm down and maybe meet the ordinary person. If you miss that opportunity, it means that you're saying, well, whether you like it or not, I'm going to be there. Because a politician who knows that it depends on the vote will not behave in that kind of cavalier manner.
You talk about it all being an elitist kind of stuff, but when we go by trends, from the participation of voters in the northwest and southwest regions, you will not say that there was an elitist kind of elections.
I don't know the trends you're talking about. Maybe you help me cite the trends in the northwest and southwest for me to answer your question.
From all indications, we had the CPDM leading in the northwest and in the southwest regions in terms of vote trends.
Yes.
From the elections. It's certain, it's obvious. They are the only ones, like I said before, who braved and did campaigns in the region. So you can only expect them to go home with such victory.
Well, you are drawing conclusions. Maybe those are conclusions that are debatable. We just watch the issues at the Constitutional Council with all the opposition parties coming up with all the proof that elections did not take place in many of those places. You are talking about trends. So what we have to say here is that once you base your question on the false premise, maybe you condition us to make statements which are also false.
Would it have been possible? Would it have been possible to for the SDF or any other political party to want to say that they won? Let's forget about the figures. To say that no, they did not campaign here, but they should be counting some good number of votes on their favor.
We are saying that maybe the elections is like a football match. I do not think that the conditions that you have in playing football, if you have to go and play a football match with Nigeria, and you create the kind of conditions that you have here, and you say that all the players who can brave it to the stadium should come, and then eventually you declare the winner. You will not say that. You will not claim that you played the football match or the competition was good. So you have to create conditions which are favorable, which will meet what you're expecting, either the football match or the election. Once you don't create the conditions and you say that, okay, those who have money to pay this player, those who can brave it, come there. Of course, at the end of the match, you will not say that this is the best African team or this is the best world football team. So you have to begin with conditions on the ground favorable to what you want to achieve.
Ben, you are a political marketer. Should we say this was a strategy used by the incumbent to destabilize these two regions so as to make it on top at the end of the day?
Thank you. Firstly, I would want to disagree with my co-panelist who suggests that the ground was not level enough for the political game. My question is, at what level did we have bumps on the field? At what level? Because when you take the analogy of a football game, for a football game to commence, there is a certain number of players who are supposed to be on the field. And if this number of players are not on the field, the game probably will be postponed, because without the players, the game can't take place. But that's not the same with the elections we just lived. When you ask me, I come back to your question now. You're asking whether the incumbent did not organize the situation in the northwest and southwest to take advantage of. I think we have our consciences to respond to. I think we also have to be very honest and sincere, because here we are talking about our nation and we are talking about issues of national interest. We should be very honest and say things the way they are. To suggest that the incumbent did this or that to take advantage and then probably get re-elected, for me, I don't see it, because for me it sounds even ridiculous. Permit me use the word. It sounds ridiculous because The incumbent is chairman and candidate of the lone political party in Cameroon that is the most structured. The CPDM is the only party that is permanently present on the field, whether elections or no elections. The CPDM is the only political party that is in permanent touch with the grassroots. So it's not when elections are announced or when the electoral college is convened that people start scrambling, verifying where they can be endorsed on a political platform to be accepted as presidential candidate. I think we start preparing elections from the day we hold a presidential election. If you think you would be contesting in 2025, you start doing your groundwork now. I think for me, I think it's weak. I think it's being escapist to accuse the incumbent for what is happening now. I'm not saying everything is going on the way it should have been. You see, yeah. We are supposed to be honest. We are doing, the incumbent, the president, the head of state has done a couple of things to address the situation, but I think special measures still have to be taken to ensure that peace, for which Cameroon had always been identified, peace which has always been Cameroon's trademark
for 2 years. For 2 years, we've not had these special measures, so it will take, or it needed the incumbent 7 more years, like he's seeking to look into the situation, right?
Not to say for 2 years the incumbent was unable to restore peace. I think we would be subjective to say so, because it is not as if the incumbent or the head of state had the opportunity to identify those perpetrating the violence, the massacre, and every other thing which the people of the Northwest and the Southwest are living, and he personally refused not to address. I think I want to look at it from 3 prisms. As a people, we have a collective responsibility. When there is an issue, as a family head, you first of all try to caution your kids and say, this is the situation around the neighborhood, this is how I want you guys to behave, this is what I want us to do, so that we stay out of trouble, first. Secondly, I want to look at it from the second prism. I want to look at some of our people who have been peddling information that is not very accurate and which is not in the interest of the people of the Northwest and Southwest regions. Apparently, some people may be happy with the current stalemate, but I don't think the head of state, who is the father of the nation, is. But as a father, as the head of state, he doesn't have a single source of information.
Okay.
He has classical sources of information and other sources and other parallel sources of information. So when you have to bring all of these into perspective, when you have to consider all of these, at times, I may be right or wrong, you may be coming to take decisions based on your judgment which is subjective.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, the decision you take may not be in the interest, or may not favor, or may not go a long way to address the situation on the ground in a sustainable manner. So we continue to encourage our people to be law-abiding. We continue to encourage our people to stay safe, first of all, because your security, first of all, depends on you. From the third prism, I want to look at it from people who are taking advantage of the situation to paint others black. Unfortunately, if the whole thing degenerates, there will be no discrimination between an SDF, a CRM, or a CPDM militant. We will all be living the same situation. So I think we need to be honest and say things that would enable us build the peace, build the sustainable peace and a comfortable environment that will foster the development of this great nation.
Thank you. Let me turn to John Mankefor. Like you said earlier, the field was that which it was not level. Was it not necessary, or was it not very, very necessary, like I'll put it, for the different political actors to have first of all talked about the nature of the field before going in for the football match?
Well, let me come back and extend the football metaphor a little, for the sake of
understanding.
Yes, in the sense that I was citing the example of maybe Cameroon and Nigeria going to a football match. And you know that Nigeria has the referees in Nigerian, the match delegates in Nigerian, the match officials are Nigerian. And there's insecurity, and the Nigeria has the sole means of controlling the armored cars and the soldiers and say, okay, and then he sends his players to the field, guarded in those armored cars. And they say, okay, we are braving it into the football match. And they end up winning. That's exactly what we're having. I'm sure that my good friend will be able to be the first person to protest if he were football. If he saw that even the referee had any connection with Nigeria, I'm sure that my good friend was going to protest that no, this match is not going to be fair. Now, coming back to the issue of making the field level, I think that we have been getting a lot of noises from the past few years from those opposition parties, many of them, about the fact that the field is not level. The electoral code, the LECAM, acting virtually as an organ of the ruling party and all of those stuff. They have complained about it repeatedly. And it is not only the political party who have had international partners who have come and funded the government and said, okay, we'd like you to make reforms. They have come, they have observed past elections, made the observations, and then after that they come in with projects, with money to be able to help the electoral process, like the Commonwealth. But each time they come around, the thing remains the same. That's probably why most of them did not come this time, because each time they come and they give recommendations, they just turn around and leave it that way. So when you talk about leveling the field, the incumbent knows that if the field is level, he's not going to win. That's the fact about it. If you are confident that I'm going to play the match well, if you have good players, right, in a football, let's come back to that metaphor. If a team has good players, it will not be afraid about who is going to be the referee. So the issue is that the incumbent is aware that it is unpopular, and therefore will not open up to scrutiny, will not open up to the leveling of the field. It has to do everything to control. Look at the appointments, either into ELECAM or all the other structures. You find that they are militants of the party. Even the performance of the Constitutional Court, the members sitting on the Constitutional Court and talking clearly, and you see that they're taking positions.
We have political parties that, because of these complaints, did not take part in these elections.
Yeah.
The others that decided to, was it not greed? Or what? Today we see them complaining over the CC. Is it not possible, or was it not possible for them to have stopped the process from the beginning?
I think that for those who did not go and those who went are all right.
Okay.
Yes. Those who did not go made the point that we have done this thing repeatedly, nothing is going to change, and they have proved that it is right. Others prefer maybe to say, I'll prove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times to you that it is not. Maybe tomorrow, we don't know what these other parties are going to do tomorrow. Because I remember that in the other elections, I think it was Fundi who told that court was called the other one that handled the elections, not this constitutional court.
Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court, I'm not going to come back here. He said, I am not going to come back to this court. He said something like that. I'm not sure, but it was something around that. Now, the way these other people have performed, we don't know what is going to happen in the next elections. Just as others have decided to have tried once, twice, say we are not going there again. Others might try 2, 3, or 4 times, and then they might turn to other methods. So that's why I'm saying that both those who went and those who did not go are both right.
How legitimate will the president of this 2018 election be to Cameroonians?
I think it comes back to the issue of, that's why we're talking about participation. That's why each nation, when you are going for elections, they want to make sure that as many people participate as possible. If your society is a diverse one, And you have to make sure that all the segments of society participate. Otherwise, that question of legitimacy will remain there throughout your reign. And maybe you will affect it, because if you know that you have 2 or 3 houses, let's say that they take the example of a polygamous home. If you are a father of a polygamous home and you are taking a decision in the home, make sure that you have consent in all 3 houses. If you consult only one of the 3 houses, be sure that you will have challenges from the other 2 houses throughout the state. So you have to, they are interested, what I see is that what is playing out is just legality. They are interested in legality. But legitimacy is the key word, because you need consent in order that people are accompanying you in whatever program that you have. If that consent is not there, it means that the challenges will be continuous and perpetual, and therefore it will affect any potential success that you would have had.
Ben, what are the principles of having this consciousness of being a legitimate president in a nation after elections?
First of all, I want to say, in the context we are living today in Cameroon, the Cameroonian people expressed their will to take part in the October 7 presidential elections. I think the numbers stepped up from what we had in 2011, at the presidential elections in 2011. We had about 6.5 million registered voters in 2010 for this year's presidential elections. In as much as at the end, at exit polls, just about 3.5 million Cameroonians expressed this right to elect their president. I think your question is twofold. First, I would want to say the people who did not vote didn't do so not because they decided thus. We saw the passion burning in a people to express this legitimate right of theirs. We saw people who attended political rallies and were identified and killed later in the afternoon. We saw people who braved distances accompanied by security forces just to go express this legitimate right. We saw the institutions take measures to ensure that everybody expresses this right. So to put on the table the question of legitimacy, to me, I think is distraction, because the Cameroonian people were ready, over 6.5 million of them, to vote. But some individuals, for reasons best known to them,
a population of about 25 million Cameroonians,
on a population of about 22 million Cameroonians, we still have, in politics, we have what we are supposed to do, which is sensitization. It's how you market your product, because now we are talking about the various ideologies the candidates and every other person has to sell. How do you package it? How do you sell it? We say the medium is the message. The way you package it, the way you transport it to sell to your people matters. But if at the end of the day, very few political parties are on the field sensitizing people on the need for them to enroll on voters' registers, what do you expect? What do you expect? We must not blame the past, or we must not blame the government for things we ourselves should have done. We should look at the example of candidate Cabral Libi, who went for the polls on the Univer Party's platform. What he did, for within less than 16 or 18 months, he launched a program, 11 million voters. And we can see the effect. We can see the effect. That is to say, the people of Cameroon love politics. But how do we present ourselves to them? As candidates, our ideologies, and what we have in stock for them. We are a nascent democracy. We are in a country where politics is still a new product. Not everybody understands what it is. So it's about us determining or devising means to better sell it to them.
Thank you so very much, televiewers. We are short of time, and of course, it's before we say bye-bye, I'll be turning again to our guest, John Mankefor. Your last word.
Let me just maybe make a few last remarks, a reaction to what a friend has just said. I would like to emphasize that election is all about legitimacy. Legitimacy is not a distraction in an election. Can never be. So, if you have a country of 25 million, as you have pointed out, and then you have the election body, ELECAM, struggling with 6-point-something million people for the past years. Each time there's an election, you come out and say there were about 6 million people. Then in the following elections, throughout, they will tell you that election has increased in the Northwest, the registration has increased by this, in the North it has increased by that. At the end of the day, it will still be 6-point-something. This is what we've been experiencing for the past year. And then, I want to say, come back to one of the things that I has raised, that apathy, that people are burning with desire. All of us have experienced apathy over the years. I'm surprised that my friend is talking about people burning with a desire. If a desire were there, you will not be having just 6 million people. And eventually just about 3-point-something million supposedly voting. If we claim that we have all the votes were genuine, it means that supposedly we have about 3-point-something million out of 20-something million. So this cannot be people burning with a desire. The country cannot be burning with a desire. They have been so disappointed with the political games to the extent that they've said, okay, we'll give you the country, do what you want to do with it. And that's what is going on. So, therefore, they don't bother about legitimacy. That's why I started this program by saying that it is all about an elitist. It's an elitist game. They don't bother about legitimacy. They are bothering about legality. They are bothering about staying in power. They are bothering about controlling the money. They are bothering about controlling the power. And that is it.
Thank you so very much. A minute. Ben, your last word.
I first of all want to smile at my friend's last word. He says he's surprised at the fact that I talk of our people burning with the desire to partake in the electoral life of the nation. True. Take for example the euphoria animating Cameroonians on just what has been happening since Tuesday at the Constitutional Council. You see bike riders park their bikes to watch what is happening, what are the claims of the various candidates. That is to tell you the people have an interest. Look at the electoral campaigns. Look at the pre-electoral visits the various candidates made around the country. It tells you that the people are ready. But the problem now is packaging. I still come back to it. It's about packaging. What is it that you have for the people? How are you transmitting the message to them? You must be able to package your product in a way that it is attractive.
That's why we're saying that it's an elitist package. The package is elitist.
Unfortunately, that is not it.
Thank you so very much, my guests who have been there. Televiewers, it was nice having you for this edition of your program of choice, The Lamb, over WAKA Africa TV. We brighten our minds, ideas, and redirect our personal ideologies to global thoughts. Take the rendezvous, be my guest, and let's talk facts. Staffman Ambe, Macmillian, take the rendezvous for the next edition.